Robert Woeger's account, titled Ghosts to Glory, My True Story, begins by establishing a dark baseline of profound existential distress. He defines his reality at this stage as a total vacuum of hope, a state distinct from the common ebbs and flows of mood. Woeger attributes this condition to a specific antagonistic presence, a persistent siege by unseen evil spirits and dark forces. While most suffering is passive or internal, Woeger identifies his experience as active, targeted torment. By categorizing his ordeal in this quadrant, he distinguishes it from internal psychological struggles. Identifying this severe, active baseline is necessary to understand why traditional methods of recovery were insufficient to resolve the crisis. The threat continued to escalate, with Woeger noting that the objective of these forces was his total destruction. Maintaining a defense against an invisible, relentless enemy creates a massive psychological burden, leading to a state of total exhaustion. When facing a targeted spiritual assault, traditional coping mechanisms and secular frameworks eventually reach a point of total collapse. With internal strength failing and worldly resources exhausted, avoiding destruction required an external intervention. In this narrative, reaching a breaking point is not just the final stage before ruin, it is the prerequisite for a radical change in direction. In the face of this pressure, Woeger responded with a singular, desperate cry to God. His plea, "God, if you are real, show me," functioned as both a total surrender of his own effort and a direct challenge to the spiritual void. This logic tree shows how the plea created a binary test of reality. The outcome would either be continued silence and eventual destruction, or a direct intervention of truth. This moment of absolute vulnerability acted as the catalyst for the rest of his life. Following the plea, the trajectory of his experience reversed immediately, marking the point where his daily reality began to shift. This sudden intervention dismantled the control previously held by the dark forces, ending the period of active siege. The transition was marked by a shift from the fog of torment to a state of sudden, undeniable clarity. The radical nature of this change distinguishes it from a gradual psychological adjustment. It was an instantaneous response to his request for proof. This intervention led to a new, stabilized reality for Woeger, the period of deliverance. The contrast between the initial torment and the subsequent state of healing is the central focus of the story's conclusion. Woeger defines deliverance as the active, permanent removal of the dark force's influence, a complete change in his spiritual condition. This graph illustrates the measurable stabilization that occurred. Once the external pressure was removed, the volatile spikes of the torment phase gave way to a steady baseline of recovery. Surviving the ordeal was the first step, providing the foundation for a larger purpose to emerge. The final phase of Woeger's transformation involves his acceptance of what he describes as God's amazing call. The intensity of his past suffering was repurposed, with his survival becoming the primary driver for his new divine calling. The chronological trajectory moves from the valley's lowest point, through the plea's intervention, and upward toward final resolution. This highlights the relationship between extremes. The magnitude of recovery is defined by the depth of the initial darkness. Woeger's story suggests that a genuine cry for truth in a moment of total desperation has the power to permanently alter the course of a human life.